It was a fun day of baseball. It's one of those where I was driving home, and all of a sudden I'm flipping channels, and the Tigers will go to the bottom of the sixth. And I go, oh, my God, forgot all about my Tigers. And then all of a sudden go home and watch the ninth inning, and then I got Mets and the Phillies, and I'm going, all right, this is good. I like this. And then the Dodgers blow out the Padres, forcing a Game 5. You got football coming up tonight, the Niners at the Seahawks. The Seahawks are getting 3.5. So Guardians, Tigers, Yankees, and the Royals. But the big night was Francisco Lindor. Came back from his back injury and has been on a tear. So 11 games since coming back from a back injury. He has 3 homers, 11 RBIs, 6 multi-hit games in those 11 games, including the grand slam last night.
Now the pitch, swinging a drive towards the gap in right center. It's pretty deep. It's back near the wall. It's gone. It's gone. Francisco Lindor. He may have just outdone himself. He has hit a grand slam into the Phillies bullpen in right center field. The Mets are leading by a score of 4-1. They were famished for the big hit all night, and Francisco Lindor just provided a feast. Mets 4, Phillies 1 here in the 6th inning.
I believe that's the Mets radio call. I believe.
Checking.
Because this is how the Phillies radio call went.
2-1. Here's the pitch. Swung on, belted, up the alley, right center, and that ball is gone. Francisco Lindor turns the game around. A grand slam for Lindor. Mets lead 4-1 here in the bottom of the 6th.
Okay.
I think that was the Mets call, though. I think you're wrong. I think you have them switched. I think the one we just played was the Mets call.
Really?
Howie Rose gets pretty excited.
No, I already had the joke. We had the joke.
It's my birthday. Don't give me a hard time. It's a 9:08.
Be a long day.
9.
9:08.
How about that Howie Rose? He was into it.
Thank you, Tom. You're annoying. So Lindor with the grand slam. The Mets advance to the NLCS as they beat up on the Phillies. I like that you have these like interdivision games because there's already that built-in rivalry. But the Padres and the Dodgers, although not as much last night, but the Phillies and the Mets, Tigers and the Guardians, maybe not as heated, but still that familiarity, that's what's fun watching this. The Yankees and the Royals, I mean, the Yankees will be lucky to survive because this Royals team is a good team. The Yankees do have star power. But, you know, even watching last night, it feels like they're not a great team, but they did come up with a couple of big hits. You only have 4 hits, and Giancarlo Stanton was the star of that game. And then the Dodgers, that series with the Padres is all tied up. You know, it was Mookie Betts early, and all of a sudden that kind of set the tone there of the Dodgers. And I kept waiting. I kept waiting for you guys got to go after this. Because this Padre team and that atmosphere, and it felt like, oh, boy, you better do something early. And then they did, and then the Padres never recovered. But the Dodgers using 8 pitchers. I mean, get used to this. This is the new norm where you're like, I got a starting reliever is what you have. And it's not like the Dodgers have a great pitching staff. So you really have to piece this together. It's almost like a jigsaw puzzle of, that guy goes there, and then he'll go this number of batters, and then this guy goes there, and then all of a sudden you're kind of piecing it all together, a Rubik's Cube. But you really have to manage this. And they gave up 7 hits and end up blowing out the Padres. Yes, Paul?
It's such a weird thing because if you see a box score where a team used 8 pitchers, they got beat like 13-1 back in the old days. And now it's smart managing. Smoltz was walking us through it last night like, this guy will pitch to these 2 guys, and he's done. And it was like he was orchestrating it.
Yeah, but you're seeing it, and it's way too – I know Tony La Russa ushered this in a long, long time ago. It just takes away that this guy is on the mound second time through the lineup. Analytics, I haven't embraced it because I think there's more to baseball than just this is what the numbers say, because I'm guessing your numbers are going to say the same thing as the opposing manager's numbers. You both have the same analytics in front of you. What you don't have is your gut feeling, or I'm going to go with this guy. I'm going to keep him in there. Instead of, nope, you've gone 11 pitches and that's it, and you go sit down here. We're going to bring in the lefty. I don't like that. I mean, I love that atmosphere of he's staying in to face this guy. Yes, Eaton.
Right, where you're showing up that like one-on-one battle. It's like it's always the pitcher versus the batter, but there are times where it feels like, all right, this is the matchup we've been looking for, you know?
And Derek Jeter brought this up the other night post-game, and he said when you get to the postseason, it's still about starting pitching. Now, not as much, but because if you have it, it's such an advantage. If you have the guy who can go 5 or 6, and then take that pressure off your bullpen. Because, you know, Game 5 for the Dodgers-Padres, it's all hands on deck. You know, you're trying to get your guy a little bit of a break there. Or, hey, can you eat up some innings here so we can hold off because we're going to need these guys in Game 5? Yes, Seton.
And the crazy thing, too, about using that many pitchers is that each of them is required to be on that night. You know, there are some nights that you just reach back and it's not there. You can't find the plate or the ball's not moving the way you want it to. Whatever that is, there's a million things that can go wrong for a pitcher. You're requiring each of those 5, 6, 7, 8 guys to be on that night.
And you're asking them to throw 30 pitches or less. But the preparation to get ready for your 30 pitches or less, that's the stressful part. It's not, I mean, you have to go through your normal routine to pitch. Not, hey, you're not pitching tonight. Good. It's, you're going to be ready to go. Now, you know, you've got to prepare accordingly. And then you're going to have to do that again for Game 5. So it's not just, hey, go out there and face a couple of hitters. It's do your prep that you normally do because you're going to be in the lineup at some point tonight. And you have 8 pitchers here. The Tigers, they use 6 pitchers, a combined 3-0 shutout of the Guardians. This is what's happening now in baseball. It's kind of get to the 4th, 5th inning, and then all of a sudden, here comes the arms in there. I just wonder what this does for salaries with starting pitchers, because it used to be, well, in some cases, you had got Verlander and Scherzer and Kershaw, Garrett Cole. I mean, they're making some coin. I would not be paying my pitchers. Not, you know, unless it gets back to that you're actually concerned about somebody's arm and that it doesn't have to be 100 miles an hour. Then you might get back. And, you know, maybe it's cyclical. Maybe baseball comes back to this like years from now. And they say, you know, it's not about velocity. It's about location. Because I'm watching last night, and if you put it in a certain spot, no matter how hard you throw, they are going to wolf it down. They're going to make you pay for it. That's why you still have to have location. If you have movement and location, I'll take that over velocity any day. But we're so drunk with velocity. Exit velocity. I don't care. I just care, where did you put the ball? And I'm watching last night in the Phillies and the Mets, and all of a sudden, they just wait you out. They're waiting for one pitch. And you're going to eventually make a mistake. And when you do, they're going to make you pay for it. But those pitchers who have location and some movement, boy, that's what I would be. My scouts, that's what I'd be saying. I don't care if they throw 100, because I'm going to lose you for a season. If you throw 100 miles an hour, I will eventually lose you for a year, at least, with Tommy John. If I have somebody who is 95 with location, control, that to me is where I would go. It's nice to have that guy. I mean, everybody throws close to 100 miles an hour. It's like, it almost feels like, man, we're going to really screw him up. This guy's only going to throw 93. Well, 93 is still fast, just letting you know if you've stepped into the batter's box, but that's now a slider, a 93-mile-an-hour slider. I think baseball eventually gets back to, we have a starting line, we have starting pitchers who can go 6 innings. God forbid they could go 7 innings. They'll be on a pitch count, of course. Yes, Paul.
I just looked it up at how they're de-emphasizing the starting pitcher. This year in baseball, 15 pitchers pitched 200 or more innings. 20 years ago, 47 pitchers pitched 200 or more innings. That's a while back, but not long ago. That's not the 80s.
I know. And look, I've said baseball's had a good year. I just wish we still had some starting pitchers because that's what the postseason is about. It's about starting pitchers and your closer. I got guys who are coming in and they're like, here he's going to throw nine pitches. Why 9? Well, that's his limit. He's going to throw 9. I'm like 9 pitches. Okay. I hope we go back and find that it's okay to have somebody who doesn't throw a hundy. All I know is when Mark McGwire faced Randy Johnson, and Randy Johnson threw it 100, and Mark McGwire hit it 200, and I went, it's hard to hit a home run if somebody is not throwing it hard. But when you throw it hard and you make contact and you're a major league hitter, it'll go. It will go. Yes, Eaton.
And that's like a battle of like titans, right? I mean, look at the 2 names that you just put out there.
Yeah.
That's like, you don't get that as much now. But that's like a, man.
But that's what I miss. Like, I love, like this Scooble kid with Detroit. I mean, he's a beast. I mean, he really is. And then you're thinking, this is the way pitching used to be. You would have a guy who's going to go 7 and just deal. I do miss that. I do miss that.
Just deal.